struggling there, babe.
Struggling.
Hurry, hurry, hurry.
Hurry, get it going, get it on. Do it, do it, do it. Ah. I fixed it.
Okay. It's fisted.
I fixed it. Okie dokie smoke. Oop. You know what I do need to fix?
Oh.
Yep, that's the volume. I wonder, it said we went live, but did you get the notification?
I don't have my phone.
I look on my phone.
How are you going to look on your phone? You're sub to you. Huh?
I know, I'm crazy like
That's
that.
sub to you. 4 viewers, but nobody talking yet.
Oh, I guess everybody's coming in. Cop kettle in the house! The lighting is so weird tonight. I don't know what's going on with that. It's kind of creepy.
Creepy night. Creepy night. There's Mama Z. What's up,
Mama Z
Steve?
in the house.
I'm so excited to watch her do her thing.
Yes, I'm going to talk about.
Wait.
I'm going to talk about that a little bit tonight.
I cannot wait to see that.
What you doing over there?
Me?
Yep. Mama Z said, "There you are. Yes, you are real. Common sense doesn't give a degree. What's going on? Are y'all getting the notifications?" Ooh, that was a little loud. I'm sorry. The lighting is so weird. Crystal says she hasn't. Look who that is. Look who that is. What's up,
I'm
D?
so glad to hear from her.
Yeah? Why?
Yes, because I don't have my phone fixed yet. And
No, you don't.
I miss talking to my D. I miss talking to her.
Really? But you know what's funny, D? Ask her what I told her she was supposed to do this week.
Get my phone fixed. I forgot.
Ask her what she didn't do, D.
I was a little bit more stressed out about the weather this week than I was about getting my phone fixed.
Weather schmether.
Just saying.
Just saying.
I set an alarm.
Windswept in the house.
Sheila, that's a new name.
Yep, but she got the notification.
I got the notification.
All right, Sheila. Thank you for letting us know that. On time, and yes, I got notified. Outstanding.
Awesome.
One of the things that we have been hearing that if you're not getting the notifications is to unring the bell, wait a few minutes, ring the bell, hit all notifications, and that's supposed to
be good.
Fix it. The rumor mill is that if you don't have the all notifications, YouTube's like throwing craps with you. Yeah, we'll let you know about the live stream, but we won't let you know about the video.
Yeah.
So, but if you hit all notifications, then you're supposed to get absolutely everything. And so, like, I'm a huge fan of the Bearded Butchers, the Bearded Butcher channel. And that's what I had to do that with them, and I have not. I've gotten every single notification of stuff
Since then.
So it kind of works. We got snow coming our way, supposed to hit us around 4 a.m. Sunday morning. We got snow last night. Again. And pretty much by lunchtime, it was gone.
It was before lunch. It was like 10 o'clock. It was gone.
Yeah. Was it really before lunch?
Yeah, it was before lunch.
Yeah.
Because I told, because Carol came to me and said, we need dog food. Can we go now? And I was like, well, we can wait until it thaws out, like around lunchtime. And then I looked, and it was already after lunch. So. I'm not touching that.
Not touching that one.
Football.
Not even a little bit.
I hate that he's been sick, though.
But is he really sick? Or is he
Watch
sick
it.
to get the attention?
Watch it. Well, you are a man and you speak man, so probably.
But does that really work, though?
You guys are like such babies when you're sick.
Yeah, but does it work? Like, if we don't feel like we're getting enough attention, do you think if we play sick that you just automatically...
It depends on how you play sick.
Oh.
Where is your costume, Jason? What costume?
the picture, the things that I asked you if you wanted me to get for Valentine's Day?
Oh, God. He loves to embarrass me in Walmart. I'm just saying.
It was funny.
We're in the middle of Walmart and he grabs that and he's like, "Hey, honey, I should get this for Valentine's Day." I'm like, "No, you shouldn't."
Yes, I should.
Like, everybody around us is just dying. And I don't know if they're laughing at him being funny or if they're laughing at me blushing because I'm like trying to go the other direction. Hey, Cheryl.
So, Cheryl, well, let's back up for a little bit. We were not live last Saturday.
And there's a reason for that.
And there is a pretty decent reason.
Which I was going to cover in the snow video, but because of how long and how much footage we had from the actual progression of the snow, which I thought was cooler, like showing that, we didn't even, like, I cut out maybe 5 to 10 minutes of what was going on with the pig.
We have been full blown. There's a new one. Double GNL Farms.
No, they've been here.
They've been here?
Yeah.
That's just the first time I caught them. Well,
Last
hello.
couple of live
Thank
streams.
you for coming. Thank you for being here. So, we have been taking full advantage of the cold weather.
Especially these snow. Yeah, these last couple of snow times, we've definitely been taking it.
Last week, we butchered 3 pigs. And we got one hanging for us to do the final cuts and stuff for tomorrow.
Wait. What'd you say? Did you say last year?
Last week.
I swear you said last year. But
I said
I'm
last
sorry.
week.
Okay, last week.
Last week.
Sorry.
What would happen if I would put
I will stab you. I will stab you right here on the TV
the
for
live
everybody
show?
to watch.
The live show, just if I just pull a little bit. Okay, I won't do that. So, we butchered 3 pigs. Well, hashtag Jason needs a 410. We need to make that one go viral. I only got 20 gauge. And so, there is something about, at least in our area, the 22 Magnum and the 22 hollow points, really any 22, long or short. The Roots and Refuge. Hey.
What's up?
Hey, y'all.
Hello.
They're just, that grade of ammunition is not what it used to be.
No. The quality of it is just not as good.
And like last year on the trap line, I had some 22 shorts in my Papaw's pistol and I shot at a raccoon. And I shot like once.
It flicked you off. Like
Nothing happened. Shot again, nothing happened, and I ended up putting the pistol down, and the lead just went boop, literally fell out. So we've been using a single shot. What do they call them? Youth edition shotgun.
Right.
Single shot. It was basically it was the first shotgun we got for Blaze, and then he shot it one time and never wanted to mess with it again.
Which is funny.
So, but the downside of that is that it puts a hole in her head and makes Carol upset because she can't really use that skull to paint.
And she wanted to use the tongue, and this last one you blew the tongue out.
Well, we have a female pig. She's probably about 75 pounds.
If you watched the last, not the video with the girls, but if you watched the video where we're actually in the snow, when I was showing the area where they were all sitting around and I said something about Carol tenderizing the meat, that pig pen, the biggest one in there is the one he's talking about. She's the biggest one in there.
She's super skittish.
Well, tell them why she's super skittish, Jason.
Pump the brakes, hater.
Why is she super skittish,
Pump the
Jason?
brakes, hater.
You know, tell him. Why is she super skittish, Jason?
Well, she happened.
Jess is watching, Maya's listening.
She just happened to be in the same pen where I dropped the other 2 boys.
So not just one, but two. So after the second one, I'm not sticking around.
When they say pigs can run up to about 20 miles an hour,
this girl could run.
I was thinking that might have been a little bit on the false side until I dropped that second. She took off like lightning.
It was crazy because as soon as it happened, she was gone.
She ran through the electric net fencing and didn't stop.
She took out the electric fencing went completely down and she was gone.
Hindsight, it probably would have been a little bit smarter to put some hard fencing around it.
No.
Or hey, you weren't even here. Or
I was here. What are you talking about?
Being in the house.
Oh, wait, guys, wait. We left a part out. The first time that he shot a pig, she took off.
Not really. She just went into the woods and came
she
up. She
took off, y'all. She gone. But she didn't go far, okay? They left her alone, and a couple hours later, she showed back up and was ready to eat and hang out with everybody again. So that really should have been the first indicator. But no, we didn't learn from it the first time. So I come.
Where's my scissors? Hey, it happened.
You do.
Okay, you're making a big deal out of this, but is she not back in the pen? Is she not back in the pen?
Okay, let's put this in perspective.
No, this is a yes or no question.
You shot.
Is said pig back in the pen? Yes or no?
Yes.
Okay then. Doesn't matter. So, the reason why we didn't go live last week is because we had issues rounding her back up.
Okay, y'all. She took off at 10 a.m. 10 a.m. We did not get her back into the pen until dark, which is about 5:36 p.m. So this was a 7-hour affair.
No, stop. We were not looking for her for 7 hours straight. We had to process that other pig. Don't make it out like we were...
What is this whole we thing? You were processing the pig. We girls were following... And this is what would happen, y'all. This is what's funny. Okay? When she originally took off, she was on the left side of our, if you're coming down our driveway on the left side of the property, okay? So she went out back behind there and she was chilling and I could see her. Well, then I lost sight of her and I think it's because she went down by the dam. And
do not use profanity on this line.
So then I think she crossed over because we just kind of were like, we're just going to leave her alone. She'll come back. No big deal. Well, then some stuff started happening and Jason got frustrated with the girls. He's like, go look for the pig instead because I don't need you here right now. Go look for the pig. So they went looking. Carol went one direction. LaDessa went another. Well, LaDessa saw her over by the pride pen. So then we had to holler for Carol.
You're not...
What?
No, keep going.
So we had to holler for Carol. Well, then Carol comes back down the driveway and we're like, where were you at? She was all the way up towards the front end of the property.
It blows. I'm the one with the TBI and the memory issues.
What am I forgetting?
You're just telling the story wrong. It just didn't happen that way.
Okay, well, you tell the story then there, Chuck.
It didn't happen that way.
Go ahead.
She took off. She went back behind into the woods again. Dessa kind of freaked out. I told her to leave it alone. She'll come back like last time. And sure enough, she came down back over here. She followed the fence line down, found the hole where Gizmo gets out, comes up through here, and she came up, crossed over down here at the dam, went to the pride pen.
Is that not what I've said so far?
You said you saw Dessa down there. You are the one that saw her down there.
Saw Dessa?
No, the pig.
No.
You're not giving yourself credit. Yes, you're the one who saw it.
No,
yes.
I saw LaDessa, and LaDessa said she saw the pig.
No, Dessa was... Dessa...
Oh God. Anyway, whatever the case, she ended up over by the pride pen, all right? So Ladessa goes to look for her. We get Carol.
Okay.
Carol starts running
You're
down
leaving
there.
out a huge part. We could not. We were in a little bit of a panic because we couldn't find Carol.
Right.
Because Carol darted down in the little woods and fell and got herself turned around and had to follow the creek back to the wood or to the road and walked back up and around because she also lost her radio.
I was going to leave that part out, but yeah, she got turned around, and before we knew it, she was coming back down our driveway, and we're like, where were you at? And she said, I did what you told me to do. I got turned around, I saw the creek, and so I followed it all the way, and so I got to the road, and then I came back, and we're like, okay. Yeah. So then she goes down to help Ladessa. They go back in the woods on the other side of our property because she had gotten back behind.
By the time that, she went to the back side of the pride pen and
went on the other side of our property to where they've just planted wheat. Like they just...
Ooh, they planted?
Yeah.
I didn't know they planted.
Yeah, so there's wheat back there growing. But right now it's just grass, right? It's like this tall. So it's not huge. It's not a big deal.
Well, is it wheat or is it grass?
It's wheat. Anyway, so...
Are you sure?
So, they go back there.
Sure it's not a ryegrass?
Carol, all of a sudden, lets out this shrill of a scream. And I had seen, because you had said, you're like, oh, I see her. And so the pig was coming down right here behind us. She was walking this fence line. And so they started after her. And so over here, Gizmo is barking because he sees the pig. Well, then Carol fell, and because there's a lot of briars and like trees uprooted and all kinds of crazy stuff, so she tripped and fell. She lets out this like blood curdling scream. Not that she's hurt, just that she's just over dramatic sometimes, because she really wasn't that badly hurt. When we finally got to her, she was fine.
She was just covered in mud.
But she just left his line, like it's a strong line. He snapped the line, tried to go through the pond, but figured out that he couldn't get to her that way. So then he turns around, goes all the way down the dam, and like he's smelling as he's going. Like you can see him just like...
Yeah, he's trailing her.
And he goes right under where she had gone over the fence, goes straight back to her, and the next thing you hear is, okay, Gizmo, I got you. And I was like, oh my God. The whole reason we keep Gizmo on a line is because he'll take off. At least that's been our experience in the past. And I don't want to find out again.
The reason why we keep him locked up right now is because we had 2 feral dogs come on the property, and they chased piglets out of the pen, and they were running them, and he ran down there. The piglets took off back towards the pen. He escorted them back, but then he ran those 2 feral dogs to like Alabama, and we couldn't call him off. And he made it back. I guess he basically ran them to the road because he came out, up and around, and then our neighbor was going to act like he was going to shoot him, and right there in front of Dessa. Mm-hmm. And we had a big incident with that because he kind of...
It looked like he was going to try and shoot Ladessa from Daddy's perspective, so there was an issue there.
There was a major issue there. And so we're
not going to have that happen again. So
until we
fix the fence.
I have to get to... A lot of our property is overgrown. And overgrown is not really the word. It's got a lot of... They left a wooded cushion, and then they put the fencing... I guess rumor has it that there was... Once upon a time, there was a couple of chicken houses on this property. And we find evidence every now and then because we'll find, like, we found a big old industrial chicken feeder. We find crush and run
under grass. Like grass has grown, but then 2 inches down, you'll have crush and run everywhere.
And so, we find these evidence. And so I think over time when they got rid of the chicken houses, they just let Mother Nature grow back. And so as we're taking it back from Mother Nature, we find the holes in said fencing, or the fact that it's just barbed wire fencing.
2 patties.
And Gizmo can duck underneath it and stuff like that. So we have to go through and push replace it with like welded wire or pasture fencing or whatever.
Anyway, yeah.
You know, and with
So
21 acres, that's a good chunk of change and a lot of time.
Right. So that's where we were at. So then we had to stop looking for the pig, grab the dog, and because of where he was and where she was, they had to walk all the way the fence line, come all the way back down the driveway.
And we were doing all of this and racing the snowstorm.
Yeah, so that was Saturday, right? So Saturday afternoon, it's starting to look like, okay. So we got him back. Jason is still steadily taking care of the pig. Yeah, he's still
I think at that
working
point
on
in
that.
time I was
eviscerating, I think.
Yeah.
So then we all came back. We're like, okay, we're just gonna leave her be for right now. And so then a little while later we had a spotting.
Well, no, we pretty much just
left her be.
Left her be.
And we were starting to build. You were building the pig shelter over there for the girls.
Yeah, we were, because it
was starting to get dark.
The one group of pigs that we had lined up for processing, there was like one left, and because it was going to get so cold, I was like, we cannot leave him by himself
because the other girl was with him, and so she was gone, and
Yeah.
we're like, we can't take the chance.
Yeah, and so we combined it. We put him in.
No, we weren't there yet.
Okay,
we weren't.
Does the order really matter?
It does,
okay.
Because you were building the pallet fence, or the pallet structure. While we were building the pallet structure, LaDessa saw the pig.
Mm-hmm.
And so you kept making the pallet fencing. I was going to go up to the top to film because I was going to run goalie to make her turn back down our driveway. So, but then you fussed at me because the two girls went and you still needed help with the pallets. So I was like,
I didn't need help with the pallets. Y'all turned the fence back on.
Any other time you would have just straddled it and gone over it.
That is a Gallagher 220. I'm not straddling. I'm not even pretending to take that risk.
So he's like, Ronnie, get it.
Just turn the fence off. That's all I asked you to do. There was no way. Look, I saw firsthand what happened when a friend of mine decided, oh, I can clear that and straddle the fence. It zapped that area, and the man threw up. I am not, no.
So
I'm not, no. Not even thinking about risking something like that.
I went back down there to help him. Well, they started bringing her back, and then I hear them start yelling at each other again. Well, in the meantime, and I left. There was one other time that they saw her. We forgot about that, and they had pushed her back. I had gone back to help. She would just disappear. Like, she would just duck in the woods, and she was gone. And so this final time, I'm like, it's starting to get dark. Like, we've got to try and do this. And so I told the girls, I'm like, do not yell at each other. Do not yell. Do not run. You just need to be a presence, and she'll start,
And telling those two girls not to yell at each other, you might as well throw a T-bone steak down in front of a dog and tell him not to eat it.
So then...
You stand a better chance with
But
the
they
dog.
did a pretty good job that time. So what ended up happening is, instead of her coming down the driveway, she just ducked up underneath some of the fencing.
Mm-hmm.
And so she came through, and the next thing we knew, she's on our property. We're like, okay, leave her be.
Yeah, let her be.
So we start doing everything that we're doing, and Jason and I are finishing up at that thing, and we look over, and she's on the other side of the fence again.
Yeah, I don't know. I got to find that hole where she got that, because I thought that whole area was good
but
to go.
She was back over there. So then I came back up the driveway. Carol and LaDessa started trying to push her back down that way. I mean, it was...
Unless she got to that spot where the barbed wire is. That's the only other thing.
I think what she did is went down by where Calf Pow got out that one time. And
no, I don't think she made it. I don't think she didn't have to go that far, because right where we're going to put the nursery stuff, the new first moo, it's barbed wire right there.
Yeah.
So
she
all
could
she had to do
right
is,
under.
because they like had it set up for cows or just marking a fence.
So anyway, so she kind of just dipped around, and she would show up, we'd see her, then she wouldn't be there, and then she would, and then she was over in the briars, and it was just like, I was like, just stop. We have stuff we have to get done, because what you had said, Charlie needed to be moved because he was going to be in that pen by himself at night, and we couldn't have that. And the other piglets did not have a shelter. So what we had done, and I think you guys saw that in the video, is we put the pig fencing down around First Moo. And so the plan was to move those guys, the one pen, in and get Charlie and move him in so that everybody was together. Yeah. Well, what ended up happening is when we started to move the big group of piglets, Carol used a bucket of feed. And they all started grunting. When they started grunting, the big pig heard them. And so she started meandering her way. And I could hear her. It was in overgrown brush, so I couldn't see her, but I could hear her. And so I kept, just kind of listening. And then she would peek her head out. And then Carol, not knowing what was going on, she'd walk over that way and she'd duck back in. And I'm like, okay, you guys need to just back off for a little bit. Walk them over to, walk the other guys over. And sure enough, she popped out of there. And the next thing we knew, everybody was in the pen. And I was like...
Well, that's why I kept saying, leave her alone, because we did not feed that... I kept saying that.
Carol, go find the pig. Go find my pig. If you don't find my pig.
What I said to them.
If you don't don't come back until you find my pig.
My show. I kept telling Robin, I kept saying, leave her alone. She'll come, because she didn't eat that morning. Because we were going to bring the feed up, and as soon as we were bringing the feed up, well, they all came up to the fence, and I just, ka-yow, the one, and he dropped, graveyard dead. Boom, right there.
She didn't want
and she said,
yeah.
So I knew she was going to come back because she was so used to us. How'd that get on the floor?
I don't know. You're like running it over.
It's not my favorite hat anyway.
So your phone.
What?
Anyway, go ahead.
And so I knew she would come back that way. But nobody trusts the fat guy.
No. If you don't come back with my pig.
That's not. One, that's not how I sound. That's not how
Behind your back, the girls are like, if he'd just listened to us and not shot him in the pen with the other girl over there, she wouldn't run away.
Like that.
So, very long story short.
If everybody listened to me, we wouldn't have had that drama. We would have been live.
Oh my God. So anyway.
That's what it means down to. Camel and Bose, how's it going, brother?
We ended
nice
up
to see you here.
Waiting to the last second in
Mama Bear, how's it doing?
True form. But we got everybody secure, and by the time we got that done, we were spent. We looked at each other and I was like, we're not going live tonight.
But I want to brag on my girls tonight, though. I really do. Because we had that... What's up? Does that say Todd?
Todd family.
Todd family. How's it going? We had that weekend where... I mean... on my Fitbit, it registered like... That day registered like 20,000 steps. So the girls and Robin probably had close to 50,000. And so everybody was just worn out.
I had twisted my back and my knee just from like walking around and just, catching a tree root the wrong way or whatever, it was just, and then the girls both fell. Ladessa dropped a pallet. She picked up a pallet. And the pallet kind of tipped over, and so she fell. She busted up her knee pretty good. I mean, like, we were exhausted. We were really tired.
And so everybody bounced back Monday, Tuesday. What?
Bye. Make me some more, please.
Wednesday, my girls...
Pictures played. Hello.
I had to run and go do something. I had to go to town for something.
Good night, sweetheart. I hope you feel better.
And I took Lagatha with me. because one, I wanted to go do a meet and greet with the vet that was Apollo's vet at one time to make sure that they...
Bragging's great, but keep Carol's butt out of that cave.
that they kind of what's the word? Meshed. What's the word I'm looking for with the dock and
meshed.
Yeah. And so I think I didn't have to pick something up at Lowe's or something. Yes, yes. Oh, poor Carol. We had to fabricate an issue with our leach tank because when we got all of those, we're getting all of this rain and all that stuff. Well, the pump that they have in there isn't strong enough
to push it up the hill.
To push it and fight that back pressure to push it. And so we had to fabricate it to go a different way up to the leach field. Well, something got caught in the backflow preventer. And Carol was taking the initiative. She didn't tell anybody. She was taking the initiative to just fix it and put it all back together. Well, I guess in the process of pulling it out or whatever, she leaned on something and snapped it. So I had to go get the parts for it. No harm, no foul. I'm not going to be upset about that because she took the initiative.
And it wasn't like it was a huge fix. It was a couple pieces of PVC.
Couple pieces of PVC that I usually have on hands, but
we just didn't have any at the moment. So
any of that in the moment. And I took a look at the backflow preventer, and I'm like, you know what? I'm just going to get a new one. And so I was in town for doing that.
So you were in town, so you're like, well...
Now, when we go to town, it's 45 minutes there, 45 minutes back.
Right.
And then, so basically about an hour in town. So I was gone for a decent portion of the day. They took the initiative, and they processed 12 meat birds.
Just the two of them.
Just the two of them. And you may be going, but Jason, it's January. You had snow on the ground.
We've been trying
What are you
to
still doing?
These
No. We're still trying. Why are you still processing meat birds?
Wait. No. Whoa. Wait,
see,
what?
Robin has an addiction.
Oh. Y'all put your boots on because it's about to get thick in here.
If Robin sees a sale with chickens or meat birds in general, she does this to us every year.
No.
No,
I will tell you what's happened.
We can do one more round of meat birds.
No, I'll pull up the date when we got those chickens. It was not late.
No, I was still there.
Because every time we would go to butcher them, there was something more important to do.
They weren't ready. They're just now ready.
Anyway.
Okay. They did 12 and they took out the 12 biggest out of there, but there's still like 4 or 5 in there that are too small to butcher.
Out of how many? Exactly.
I don't know.
Yeah,
50?
4 or 5 out of... Yeah, exactly. They still have plenty that they can do. My point is, they were ready to butcher at least in November, the end of November, okay? And that's because we don't pump them full of grain like a bunch of people do. A bunch of people, and I'm not knocking that, I'm just saying a lot of people will take and just pour the feed to these birds. And we don't do that. We don't pour tons of feed.
We give probably about the same amount of feed as most of the other...
No, sir. Not even close. Ask Sydney and Tori how much they put into meat birds. Because they did some, didn't they? Or their turkeys. How much feed did you put into? There's no way we give them as much as most people do. Anyway, point being, ours grow a little bit slower because we rely more on the grass and the bugs than we do the feed for them. Okay? And whether it be because people aren't feeding twice a day or what, they're not getting fed the way that most huge, some of these monsters that you see people doing in 8 weeks, it takes us 12 to 14 weeks. What are you doing?
Nothing.
Anyway, so they were going to be ready in like November instead of like September, basically. We take about an extra month. But then what happens, right? You have Thanksgiving. Then you have Christmas. And there's all these different things that go on. And then we have the cold weather. It's hard to butcher a chicken when it's freezing outside. One, because it's freezing outside. And two, it's harder because their blood will clot faster. Or freeze faster, whatever. And so we tried to wait until it would get warm. So there were several times we were going to, and then we wouldn't. And one time, Jason we were going grocery shopping, and I said, well, we need chicken. And he's like, yeah, see, there you go. They didn't put a whole lot of grain in theirs either. So,
hey, baby.
So anyway, that's the thing, is it takes a little bit longer when you're growing them the way that we grow them. We don't do the whole, if you look at a conversion, and that's the thing, like Jason might not even know, because there's actually a conversion of how you can make a 12-pound bird. We very typically do not put out 12-pound birds. So that's basically, where we were at. So yeah, the girls ended up butchering 12 chickens by themselves, which was really cool. Speaking of which, are they still in the cooler?
Yes.
Are they still
They're
frozen?
Yes.
So that was nice that they got done by themselves. So then what, you're going to continue to brag. What was the next thing that they did?
We went to we are in the, what's the right word? Mindset of we are getting good equipment. Not just the equipment that we can afford. We are literally looking at reviews, talking to people, sending emails to people that do this for a living and have a YouTube channel, and saying, for a home dude that's just doing pigs that may do 1 cow or 2 cows a year for himself, what grinder do you recommend? What this do you recommend?
Right.
Sausage stuffer, slicer,
Right.
stuff like that. So one of the things that we're doing is we're getting these tools, this equipment, is I wear aprons. You are somebody that I really need to talk to. Please. I want to pick your brain and get some recipes and stuff from you guys, because this is we're
getting ready to start talking about.
And so and I don't know if it's the jarhead in me or what, but it's things have a place, and I got to go in that place, so that way when I need them, I can go to said place and grab them. So one of the things that we did today is we purchased 3 of those heavy duty, I don't want to call them Tupperware, but what totes. The black
totes.
and yellow one. They got the yellow lid with black ones, the heavy duty ones that you can stack on top of each other. Well, we got one, and we're going to put the grinder and the slicer in that, or the grinder and the sausage stuffer in that one. And then in another one, the slicer and some other things will go in that one. And then we got this little shoebox for our skinning knives and meat cutting knives and aprons. They will go in there, and that will be for pork and beef. And then we have another one for the chicken stuff, which will have the aprons, your long puller, your pin feather, hooyah thing, and the heat wrap bags, nitrile gloves.
Meat maker, isn't that what bearded butchers
Yes.
use? Yeah, we are going to look at those.
Yes, that's the ones that we're
right.
starting
So
to
all of
get.
that to say, one of the things that we did finally pick up was good knives.
Yes.
And one thing I'm going to tell you guys, a good, decent knife is not necessarily as expensive as one might think.
Yeah.
And that's one of the things that we've learned the hard way, is that a lot of times we thought that some of the stuff that we needed was too expensive. And so we wouldn't even look at it. But now we're finding that, especially with doing the Dave Ramsey stuff, we're finding that we do have a little bit of room to kind of use that money for that stuff.
Yeah.
And so, like, I guess Jason got on a group on Facebook and started asking around about knives and said, look, I'm kind of on a budget, not like super cheap, but I want a good knife that's going to do what I need it to do. And they gave us a couple of suggestions. And then I went to a restaurant supply store and found something comparable. It wasn't exactly the same knife, but something comparable. Came home with those two knives, and it made all the difference in the world.
And also, I'm starting to think, and this is just my hypothesis, I'm starting to think that some of this equipment is going to, or these tools, is really not that much different than like woodworking tools. You want to use the tool that matches like your experience level.
Right.
And then as your experience grows, upgrade those tools.
Right.
So these knives, for example, they're like middle of the road kind of thing. And
they're not stupid cheap, but they're not stupid expensive either.
And so as my experience level goes with making the cuts and sharpening them on the whetstones and stuff, it's a lot easier to digest and not get super heartbroken when you mess up sharpening these knives on the whetstone. If it was one of the higher end guys that eventually I will work my way up to, but I want to adjust. It's mostly for me. It's mostly about getting that angle right on that whetstone. There is a definite skill to that, being able to get it. And I want to make sure that, because I think the knives that we got they cost like what, $15-$16 a piece. I would much rather hose one of those guys up and then have to probably have to take it to somebody to get them to fix it if they can fix it, than one of the knives that are $20 or $30.
Right.
You know, so.
But all of that to say that you can get a decent knife to do that stuff for like $15.
Yes.
And again, because we didn't delve into finding the knowledge, we had no idea. We were under the impression that a good boning knife was going to be $60 or $70. And that may be true on some of the really, really nice ones, but when we started looking around, we realized it really wasn't as bad as we thought.
The ones that the bearded butchers use is like one step up from the one that we got. I think those were like $20 or $30.
Yeah, they're still not that bad.
But they're sold out, you know. So, and I needed something now because I am getting rid of every single male except for one, except for Han. Han's big 700-pound buck can stay.
He can stay.
At least he can stay for another round or two, and then I'm either going to offer him up the trade because he's still kind of young.
He's only four, so.
Yeah. Or he'll just go all sausage, and then I'll get another one that's of breeding age. But I would really like to find somebody to trade with. But with that being said, where was I going? What was I talking about?
All of your youngins.
Oh, yeah. So we're getting rid of basically every male that we can get rid of, and then keeping every single female and basically I'm trying to sell just about all of them, male and females, trying to get rid of them. The younger males that we have are still young enough that I can castrate them, so I'm going to go ahead and start Monday. I'm going to start castrating on Monday, because they're like anywhere from 50 to 75 pounds. I can castrate them still.
I don't even think they're that much, but yeah.
And so we'll get them castrated, and so then that way they can grow up and, you know, get beefy, but they can get bigger. And worst case scenario, you know, if they get, you know, 200-300 pounds,
I'll
just load them on a trailer or call my guy, load them on his trailer and zip them all down to Happy Valley and offer them up like we do with our beef is, you know, buy half a pig.
Yeah.
You know, or a whole pig. You know, we do have one guy that does a roadside barbecue that come around certain holidays. He may be looking for some, so that'd be a way out.
Get them done, yeah.
You know, for us to be able to get them done and get them sold that way.
Yeah.
I had one guy was supposed to come by today, but I didn't hear from him all day.
Good night, Mama Bear.
Good night, Mama Bear. And so that's one of the things that we got going on. Are we gonna make the video and talk about our plans for 2022, or are we just gonna roll with it? What do you?
I mean, I think so, probably.
Okay. So I wear aprons. Could you please send us an email? I would really like to pick your brain on making the scrapple and the lemon and bologna that you guys sent us, and salami and pepperoni and stuff like that. I really want to start diving into this because we're going to be making Italian sausage and bratwursts this week. And then after I get the stuffer where I can get the smaller tube, we're going to make breakfast links and hot dogs. Going to make some hot dogs. I want to make my own hot dogs. What are you crotcheting? Yeah, that tells anybody nothing.
It's a scarf.
It's a scarf.
Using an ombre type of yarn so that it naturally changes color along the thing. I think I'm almost at back at the beginning of the ombre color, I think. But on this pattern, I just crochet until the yarn is gone. And right now I have this much yarn left. But you can see, like, in there, see how it, how it goes into a burgundy again. I had a customer that wanted to get one for his mother, so I'm making one. So, yeah. Y'all gonna make plans? Yeah. God is laughing. Well, yes and no.
Well,
I
feel like God put these plans
kind of
on us, and this is what He's leading us.
What am I doing?
To do. Robin and I have been in a lot of heavy prayer and trying to figure out which direction God wanted us to go with this homestead and with things that we've had going on this summer. And we just had to learn to just shut up and listen. And then when He opened the door, have the courage to be able to walk through that door. And I think that was some of the hardest parts, I think, was so like Jess would always tell us, He was giving us opportunities to stretch the trust muscle. Well, if you haven't stretched in a while, it hurts. Whether you're stretching your hammies or your triceps or anything, I mean, you haven't stretched in a while. It's uncomfortable. It hurts. And so you're looking at these open doors and not really scared to death to be able to go through them, that we just had to say, you know what? Here we are. I'm 40 years old.
47.
Really?
46.
Really?
Yep, really.
Wow.
I'm 44.
Yeah, what's that in your hair right there?
Gray, and I love it. I think it's amazing. Makes me sexy. Just saying. Not the slightest bit scared of it. Because it's not like that white, like, you know, some people when they're growing out their grays, it like comes in like a little cradle and just cradle cap and just kind of like meanders down. Oh no, mine's like these beautiful highlights that just keep coming in. They're pretty. Look who that is!
Miss Nanda!
What's up, Nanda? What stitch am I using? Mostly double crochets.
Miss Nana, you need to come up and get some of these pigs. You just need to come up, but that's beside the point. But yeah, that stretching that trust muscle is
well, and we've gotten smacked in the teeth like a lot lately.
But we've been blessed beyond measures lately, though, too.
Well,
Quit being negative Nancy.
There's always a good side to everything, right? But we've had some pretty hard kicks to the teeth lately with all of the food we've been trying to grow. So we're trying to ramp that up, and you'll see that in upcoming videos of what we're going to be doing to hopefully ensure that is not a problem this summer. But we have been fighting goats, we've been fighting pigs, and so...
Goats are little ninjas. I think they work with the government. Within a secret goat agency that we probably have, where they install go-go gadget hooves or something, because some of these goats are like 8 inches from the ground.
They're like 2 feet tall, and they can jump like 6 feet. It's crazy. Yeah, come on, whenever.
Come home.
But yeah, so we're
learning a lot. I don't know why you use such negative words. We're learning. We're learning about the high jump abilities.
I'm learning recipes on how to cook a goat. That's what I'm learning.
We're learning the fact that some goats should be in the Olympics and jumping in the high jump for the track and field.
Yeah.
I think that we're...
Never underestimate the power of the go-go gadget goat hooves. That's what we're saying. Yeah. Joel says, if you have goats, your neighbors have goats. Well, see, we don't have any problem keeping them on our property because we have a lot of property. The problem is, I think you could say if you have goats, you don't have a garden. It's basically what it boils down to.
I've been, racking Jeremiah's brain when it comes to these goats, because I mean the major portion of our goat herd came from them, and so he has.
And now I'm starting to wonder why.
No, stop.
No, I know. No, don't even try to say stop. She even told me that.
Stop.
She's like, they weren't as worth as much trouble as they were causing.
Stop. And so he has first-hand knowledge with these goats. Mm-hmm. And so with talking things out with him, telling him what I'm thinking about doing, would it work,
Like, nope, that didn't work.
And we learned that the charger that we were using wasn't strong enough. So then we got the S200 or 220 or whatever it is. But the goat netting is not high enough. Yeah. So one of the things that Jeremiah said to me, he's like, look, he's like, I don't put goats on anything but behind hard fencing.
Cheryl, where do you think I got it from?
And so I'm literally going to make a long...
So we no longer have the delusion that we can run them on mobile fencing, is what you're saying?
We're going to make a long, like in that section up there from the shade lean-to down past where all the raspberries are into the nursery area. I'm just going to make it a long paddock for them in all of those blackberry vines and briars and stuff. I'm going to make that in there for them. I'm going to put welded wire, or I'm just going to use some of the old pasture fencing. And then I'm going to take, because I was because one of my major concerns was them sticking their heads through the things.
Right.
So in talking with Jeremiah, I said, what if I, to a certain height, took the clips, the insulator clips for the T-posts, and strapped them on it, which would stick out
even further,
2 to 3 inches from the fence.
Almost like how they do with prisons, where they put the fence on the angle on the inside. No, but they put it on the inside. That's what you were planning on doing.
And so that way, if they try to put their heads through that,
right,
it'll hit them. Yeah. It'll hit them, and maybe that will deter them. And he said that he felt like that was a pretty good idea, and that should probably work for us. And so that's what we're going to do. I'm going to go collect all the fencing that we took down in the back pasture when we were fixing fences back there because of Freckles, and we're going to pull it up here, and we're just going to fix that section off and let them have it.
Let them have it. Yep.
That area should take them a month or two to clear out for us, so then they can clear, because we're going to clear that area anyway. If they can get a lot of the nasty vines and blackberries, wild dewberries is what they're really called, there.
They get it all cleared out.
Then we can go in there with the chainsaw and get the trees and stuff cleaned up and out of there. And I don't have to go in there and try to get all cut up. The girls don't have to go in there and try to get all cut up trying to clear it. We don't have to go through 18 pairs of leather gloves either.
Yeah.
So
good night, Minzy.
And then once that area is cleared up, that's the area where we're going to be dividing the front pasture up for the Jersey cows that we're going to be getting in a couple of months.
Yeah, I guess we're not going to be making that video on our plans for 2022.
You shouldn't put me in charge of talking.
No, I was just waiting to see where you were going with that, but so anyway, we've got some definite, ideas of what we're going to do with certain things. Pigs is another one that we're revamping how we're going to be doing them. And with homesteading, things change. Sometimes you get to a point where it's like, okay, well, let's try this instead. Let's do something different.
I'll be the first to admit. Well, admit's probably not the right word. I forget. I had a little bit of some health problems, health issues. Stuff wasn't diagnosed correctly. And it was one of the things that ended up leading to the accident that took Apollo. And once Apollo lost his life because of those issues, people actually started listening to me and Robin. And so as things progressed over the summer, tests were given, tests were failed, this was done, that was done. Well, anyway,
we're now 2 years into or
almost
2 years into this,
and we're getting some things right that I feel
he's a totally different person.
I wasn't gonna go there, but yes. And I have looked at my homestead, and I have looked at where we are, and looked at some of the things, and I take responsibility that I dropped the ball.
Well, let's be completely honest. Like, y'all, he beats himself up over this. Like, he's not going to tell you that. But he came to me and was like, because of everything that was going on, couldn't see it. But now I can see that I haven't been doing what I need to be doing. And so now he is working overtime trying to catch us up to where we should be.
And I have to constantly remind myself that it's a relay, not a sprint, and that the only way to completely eat said elephant is one bite at a time. And
bison. We're going to say bison now.
And so we...
hey, CD.
I just have to...
She's been in here for a while.
Like, really... I get very frustrated. Like, we had all this bad weather, and I was knee-deep in clearing some stuff, and now it's 8 inches of mud out there, and I can't go out there with the chainsaw and stuff because it's slicker than owl snot.
It's really, really nasty out there still.
And so I have to wait, and so that gets frustrating. But then I shift gears and
butcher 3 hogs, and I'm fixing my shop up so I can get in there and build the chickshaw and build these other portable things
that I need. I built my skinning table, rack, whatever it is. I was going to do a video on that one, but there's some adjustments that I need to make to it before I make the video on that one. But it has been a great game changer. So we are revamping the entire homestead, and I think that by the time that we're done, by the end of 2022, that's the goal, that it'll look completely different, it'll operate completely different, and it will catapult us into the goal that we're trying to get, which is where we're 100% sustainable here on the homestead, because that's always been the end game goal, is to be 100% sustainable and self-reliant.
Well, I think as close to 100 as we possibly can. Let's just put it that way, because there are some things that are going to be difficult, if not impossible.
There's nothing that's impossible.
Okay.
No such word as impossible.
Anyway.
It just takes proper planning and guts, and we're going to get it. We're going to get it done. So, y'all be on the lookout. Watch out. You see us doing something crazy, send us an email. Say, hey, homie, pump the brakes on that. That's not going to work.
Never know. It's all work in progress. Doesn't matter how you get there. 2 times 2 is 4, but so is 2 times 1 times 2. Exactly. And that's really, believe it or not, that's kind of how we've been going with like our equipment and everything, is like, you know what? We don't have to get it all at one time. We can pick up this piece. Just like we're trying to redo W5. What's up? We've been trying to, the red barn that Blaze had here, we're trying to get it to where we can actually use it, because he never really did much with it, because he had just got it when he decided to go into the military. So he never got a chance to do all the finishing that he wanted to do. So we've been just very slowly getting a little bit of insulation here or there. And it may not seem like much, but
got the whole front of it insulated.
Now the whole front of it is insulated, and all we were doing was just budgeting. Was it like $15 a week? Like, that's all it was.
Yeah.
I didn't eat out from work, and that money went to getting a roll of insulation. And so each week we pick up a roll.
Chris from Single Dad Homestead, he did a bunch of videos about the Dave Ramsey plan. And Robin and I did the Dave Ramsey plan a long time ago. And we got out of the debt and we started putting money aside, and then we stumbled across this place. But
we never did the budget part. We never did that. We never did the telling your money everywhere it needs to go. And that is way more important to me than the debt stuff. You got to get that down first, because if you don't have a concept of that, paying off your debt's not going to do. I mean, you may pay it off, but then you still, if you don't have a budget, you're not doing what you need to do.
That is the most powerful...
Oh, that sucks.
Tool. It's called. He has a free version, and it's
Every
dollar counts, or every dollar goes. Everydollar.com. It may be. Go check it out. And if you're intimidated by doing a budget, that takes the intimidation away. Mm-hmm. And it really has helped us, because then you can sit there and you basically put in all of the income that you have coming in, and then you put in all of your
static expenses, everything that doesn't change.
Right.
Your cell phone bill is going to be the same each month. Your mortgage payment is going to be the same. And then we budget kind of high on our electric bill because it fluctuates. Mm-hmm. But our gas is pretty much the same, and internet is pretty much the same every month. So we go ahead and line all that out. And fortunately, I'm salary, and your VA payment doesn't change. So we just put in the stuff that we know is not going to change, and then we went from there and worked from there. And it's amazing what money, if you don't tell it where to go, you'll spend it on something. Mm-hmm.
Your money will run you, and you won't run your money.
Yeah.
And you need to be in charge of your money, not your money in charge of you. And it was amazing.
See, Dean's right. You'll chase your tail.
Yeah. It's amazing how when we sat down and did that, we were like, well, we could throw this much a month for this, and then we can throw this much a month for this.
And we can still budget in going out to eat every once in a while. And we can still budget going to the movies once in a while.
And then after a couple of months, you're like, we budgeted that way too high. Let's take it down here and add that excess to here. And the next thing you know, whammo, you got the whole front part of a shed insulated. Or whammo, you have a grinder. Whammo, you have the knives. Whammo, you have this. Whammo, you have your emergency fund.
See,
whammo, you have,
Nanda, we're not really even in the want-need filter part of it, because we're still kind of, our budgeting stuff, there's so many things that we need that there's really not a whole lot of... No, we have a lot of room to where we can shave. So I guess those you could consider wants, like going out to eat. We have an entertainment fund that we put together. So, I mean, I guess there are some things that there could be that you could qualify as a want. But we put those in for the sheer fact of being able to cover we pad a couple of those so that if we need to shave something, we know we can take it from there.
Yeah, and it's like you can, when you look at your entertainment budget, and then, okay, well, we have the Hulu Disney Plus ESPN package. Well, that goes into the entertainment slot. Mm-hmm. And then you realize, well, that's only
$13 or $14.
And so if you budgeted $50, well, that you just freed up to be able to do a takeout pizza on movie night and rent a movie from Disney or
wherever.
Amazon or whatever, and a lot of those movies ain't but like $3.99. And so then we sat down and we really started getting a schedule and started really getting organized with everything. And a lot of that has to do with the treatment plan. For me, is that I'm kind of on a little bit of a strict schedule.
He has to have a routine.
Every morning I got to get up and I exercise and then I have my vitamins and I take my medication and have my breakfast, and it has to be certain things that I'm eating now, and it just trickled on into everyday life. One of the things that Robin basically kind of sat up the whole family down, and she said, "Look, your dad has to do this, so we're all going to do this." And we got on this schedule, so we have one night a week where we read. We have game night. We have movie night. We have free time. We have, all these other things that we're doing and implementing.
Right.
And so...
Well, what I really like about the whole thing is we involve the girls, because when they were younger, we hid all the financial struggles from them, because that's just what you do as parents, right? To your best of your ability. So that's what we did. But now, and I think it's partially because we know we're doing okay, we're like, you know what, we could show them this. But we literally sat down with them And we're like, okay, here you go. This is the budget. Now we're going to start putting into where everything goes. Well, at the beginning of the month, when we had the championship football game, they wanted to be able to watch the football game. And so we jumped through some hoops and started looking around, and they're like, well, we still have money left in the entertainment budget. It was so cute. Like, they knew. They were like, wait a minute. It's the beginning of the month. We haven't spent any of our money on the budget yet for the entertainment. And they're like, we have $50. So $13 on the ESPN package, that's fine. We can do that. And it was just cute because they understood the concept. Like, okay, we have that in our budget. We can afford to do this. And it just takes a lot of or like there was a night that it was that Saturday when we were exhausted and everybody wanted pizza. And so they looked at me and they're like, we still have it in the budget. It's fine because it was in part of our food budget. They're like...
we used it out of the restaurant budget.
Yeah. And so they're like, nope, we have money in the restaurant budget. Let's just take it out of there. And it's like...
And the stress is gone.
Yeah. There is no... Can we afford to do that? Because you already know you can.
Yeah. It's just like no different than when, I go to Lowe's or something and then I'm like, well, I need to get the new backflow preventer and this. Well, that comes out of the home maintenance side of the budget.
In our budget.
I got to change the oil in the Dragonfly. Well, that comes out of the car maintenance budget. And this stuff is there, and so then you start looking at things and you're like, well, you know what? That car is going to need tires soon, so we go ahead and we have a car maintenance, car savings account where we drop in like $25 a month. And so when it's time to change the oil, we can just go right there. It's time to get new tires, we go right there. God forbid we get in a wreck and we can, when the car gets totaled or whatnot, we can take that money and then any money that's in there and, replace our vehicle so we won't be without a vehicle again like we were.
And that's the other thing that's really cool is we also, and I think most people have this, we have a miscellaneous, like just a catch-all fund, and we put like $100 or whatever in there. Well, back in December when Blaze was here, there was a flat tire. And so we had to go get a new tire.
On the truck, yeah.
And normally that is oh my God, we're stressing out. Where are we going to find $120? And instead, because, we weren't spending a lot being out and doing all, because we had everything else locked down because of Blaze being there, there was no stress because it was like, we've got fluff in the budget. We're good. And there was no stress. It was just go get the tire. Like, there wasn't a, do we have enough money? Do we need to take it from our emergency fund? Like,
yeah. And it's really, to me, it's really amazing. And it's also like a duh moment that when you have that emergency fund there and you have that cushion, and then you budget, you tell your money where to go. You hardly ever have to touch that emergency fund.
Yeah, your emergencies aren't really emergencies anymore. That was the cool thing. Yeah. Sue Baxter, what's up?
So when you are telling your money, okay, this much is going into a car maintenance fund, this much is going into health insurance, this much is going into this, and I call it health insurance, but it's a health insurance savings account. And you start to realize that all of a sudden you're like, oop, flat tire. Let's go get the tire. Boom. Pull it from there. Yeah. Put it in there.
That's really nice because there was a not so distant future or not so distant past that would not have been the case. No.
Would have been selling a kidney.
Yeah. Yeah, it was definitely nice to not have to stress about, especially, and that's the other thing, like, it was real close to Christmas, so, like, that could have been a situation where, okay, are we going Christmas shopping or are we getting a new tire, and it never got that way. Like, that was super, super cool that we didn't have that problem. Just like with the, can we afford to get a tree this year? Well, there's our entertainment. It was,
yeah, but we're starting a Christmas fund for next year.
Yeah, for next year. But you know what I'm saying?
Yeah.
Like we don't stress about, do we have it now? And
well,
that's really
nice.
nice.
And I think that with the Dave Ramsey plan, that the emergency fund is you know how chickens are supposedly the gateway animal. Well, I think your emergency fund is your gateway into setting up different funds, different scenarios.
So you have your mini emergency fund for everything else.
Because common sense tells you if I have a vehicle, it's going to have maintenance. It's going to need tires.
Right. There's going to be things that it's going to need, right?
And you've got these companies out there that try to rip you off and to give you insurance for your vehicle maintenance, and then when the vehicle breaks down, you hear all the stories about how you got to jump through hoops and pull teeth, and then they just won't. A lot of times they won't
reimburse you or cover things.
Cover that new motor or cover that new transmission. Stuff like that. And with my skill set, I guess, is, for lack of a better term, is I can pretty much do just about anything with a car. Now, especially after the Prius. I had to change a water pump on a Prius, and that absolutely blew my mind. But that's a horse of a different color. Mm-hmm. But you get in the mindset of I now see it, it's wisdom and experience. But then you're like, you know what? I have 2 vehicles here. Both of those vehicles are going to eventually need tires. One of those vehicles, the tires are almost $200 a piece. Mm-hmm. So I really need to start, coming up with, $800 at the drop of a hat to put 4 new tires on this vehicle. That hurts.
That'll kick you in the teeth.
But if I'm throwing $25-$50 into a savings account that's strictly for the maintenance on these vehicles, all of a sudden that $800 is there and then some. That it's okay, time to go get new tires. Or you're driving down the road and have a blowout, and your blowout happens in a corner, so you have to ride on a flat to get all the way out of the corner, and the rim ends up digging into the tire, so there's no way to fix it. That's $130, $140 for that tire. Boom.
Yep.
And so those things are there. So every dollar, I think it's everydollar.com. Go and check it out. Go watch Single Dad Homesteading. Go watch Chris and his videos on the Dave Ramsey and Moneymaker. Dave Ramsey also has a YouTube channel. Go check it out and just listen and go through it with an open mind. But that budget is really, in my opinion,
it's very user friendly. Once you figure out how they have their interface, like how it's all set up, it's fairly easy to use, and it's nice. Yeah. It's
very powerful. I think it's very, what's the word? Freedom. It gives you liberating. Yes, it's very liberating.
Because one of the big things that used to happen is I usually pay all the bills, and I usually keep up with the money. But the problem is that Jason had no idea what was coming in and what was going out. And to be completely honest with you, I knew all the major stuff, but until we really started itemizing the other stuff, because what we did when we set it up is we started looking at all of our expenses from the month before. And so we started tallying a bunch of stuff, and when we started adding up like stupid stuff, we were like, we're spending money that we should not be spending.
Yes.
Or we should at least know when we're spending. Like, if you make the conscious decision to spend $2 on a soda, go ahead and do it. But know that $2 is coming out of this budget,
Mm-hmm.
And so that was what was empowering, is that Jason now knew, we have this thing. We don't spend, money, big money, unless we ask each other, so like $50, $25, $30, we usually will ask each other about it. We don't just go do it. And so when Jason wasn't really involved with all of where the money was going, every time he would spend something, he would ask me. hey, can I get a soda? Do we have enough money to get me a soda? And to me, that was ridiculous, but he really, truly did not know. And so he decided, once we did this, now he knows. So now it's not, hey, can we afford to get that roll of insulation this week? Yeah, because we're staying on budget. We're good, Yeah. And so that's the part that's really empowering, I'm sure, to him. Is because now he doesn't have to, ask me for stupid stuff.
And it's really funny to watch the girls. Because one of the things that we have implemented here is that we make the menu every Sunday, and then we go through. If we don't have it, it goes on a shopping list. And we budget X amount a week for groceries. The girls take it upon themselves because they're learning to make the menu, they're learning to make the shopping list, and then they rotate each week who goes
with you to shop.
And they're looking online and in the paper to look for deals and stuff like that. And they plan out which stores we're going to go to get the cheaper deal. And they stay under budget every week. They got mad at Thanksgiving because we had to add a few extra things that we thought we had but we didn't have. And it's almost like it's a competition between the two who can stay the most under budget.
Yeah.
And so it's really rewarding, I guess is the right word, to watch your kids take the knowledge that you're giving them
and applying
it. And then using it in the real world.
I kind of like C. Dean's idea. Get your electric and water companies to send you your last 12 years or 12 months and then divide by 12 and pay ahead of time. So if you already know, you have a month that you spend $400, but if you filter that out over each month, then you'll be ahead by the time you get to that 400. So you'll always be ahead. So I wonder, we might look into that just to see, and I might play around with the numbers just to see if that would still work. Yeah. Can they get Swede? Yes, we could get Swede. They I think they're not doing that recipe this week. I think they're doing it next week. Or the next time we make our menu, because at the time we didn't know what Swede was. So anyway, it helps us get ahead on our bills. Yeah, I think that might be something that we look into. That's a really good idea. We might look into that and see. I have been, when our electric bill is let's say it's $201.50, I'll pay $202. I'll round it up to the next dollar. And so that goes on the bill, but not what she's saying. But I definitely do that. Plan to hire an employee this year, so my goal is to start paying the salary ahead of time into a special savings to see if the budget can support it. That's a great idea. I really like that idea. That, as a business owner, that's brilliant. That's a really good idea because you get to see if you can sustain it before you actually hire the person, so that you're not last minute going, crap, I can't afford this,
Carl asks, what is Swede? The short answer is...
You can't see the I, it's Carrie.
Oh, I'm sorry, Carrie. It looked like an L. My bad. Carrie, the short answer is... Rutabaga.
It's a root vegetable. It's a rutabaga is what
I thought it was rhubarb.
No, rutabaga. And neeps is another type of Swede. I think it's also a root vegetable, but I think neeps are closer to a beet. I think. Is that right, Cheryl? Am I saying that right? I think that's right.
Well, no, yeah, I think so.
Yeah, I think that's right.
Yeah, because see,
neeps and Swedes.
Couple years back, Carol had us ask Homestead in the Highlands for them to do some videos on some of their
traditional
meals, and we were going to try to make it here. And the first video that she did was on fish and chips.
Just chips. She didn't do or no, maybe she did do the fish. I can't remember.
Yeah, well, she just did the chips, and you had a heart attack. and so, but we're going to be making that this week or next week.
Look who's there.
What's up, Jay? How's it going, buddy?
Yeah, so we're going to be making fish and chips this week.
Yeah.
No, next week.
Next week.
Not this week coming, but the week after that. The week that goes into February. So.
Wow, is it really the end of January already?
Yeah, we're already 1 month into the year. Yeah, pretty much.
2022 has been rough, y'all. Let's see, we lost Betty White, Meatloaf, and Louis Armstrong. Or not Louis Armstrong. What's his name? The comedian guy. Louis Anderson.
I think that's right.
So, not a good year to be a celebrity. Just saying.
No.
I don't think Robin can cope with me making cooking videos.
No, look, y'all. I asked Cheryl this, and I don't think she ever answered me. If she did, it was when you were on the toilet and didn't play it for everybody.
Really?
I think it's supposed to be cod.
She did answer that. She answered that because she answered it to...
No, sir. I think it's supposed to be cod.
If you ask your daughter, she answered it with Carol because she went through the explanation of that it didn't used to be cod, but in the 80s and 90s, that when cod got
replaced.
No, they started eating cod in the 80s and 90s. It became more popular then. That's when it went to that fish.
What was it before?
She didn't know.
Oh. That's why I sent you that book. I know, right? Because she knows I can't handle her cooking, so... Because I wanted to, jump through the screen all the way into Scotland and yell at her. I'm like, no!
Yeah, that was kind of scary because that could have been a fire, but it's okay. That's how they do it over there.
Well, the big difference is what she was cooking on. See, the thing is that we cook over basically a flame. So if I were to do what she did, we would have a grease fire. But the way that hers was, is it's almost like like a glass top, kind of, that has the surface gets hot. And so it's not an actual flame. And so it was a little bit different with hers. It just, little pops here and there. It wasn't like a fire. The fish would have been whatever was most common where the person was. Gotcha. Okay. Yeah, so we're going to probably try cod. I don't think we're going to do tilapia because I don't think it'll hold up because tilapia isn't really... structurally, it's kind of flaky. It doesn't hold up real well. Electric cooker, yeah, that's what she has. So anyway, all right, well, it is 9:30. We've been on here for a while.
Hour and a half.
Jay, I'm hoping you can come by next weekend.
Yes, Jay, we're looking forward to hosting you next weekend and have you come over and learn about some pig processing.
That'll be fun.
That's going to be fun. I'm prepared, ready to put you to work.
I got 4 knives. I'm just saying. I got plenty of knives.
Plenty of knives. And hopefully you'll be able to leave here with some experience and a good time.
Well, I'm sure.
Guys, thanks for coming and hanging out with us this evening.
Definitely.
We enjoyed our time.
Yeah, too delicate. That's a better word.
Yeah, the Tinker's Wife, I know you're going through. Whoa.
Just tried hatching eggs in an incubator. None of them hatched. Heat and humidity was fine. What did I do wrong? How long did you keep them in?
Yeah.
And I'm assuming these are chicken eggs, not...
Yeah, first of all, were they chicken eggs, and did you keep them in there the 21 days? The second, 21 days, so more than likely they were chicken eggs. Did you candle them at all afterwards? You might have had a low fertility rate. Some of them might not have been fertile. Were you... were they in an automatic turner, or did you go in there and turn them once a day? That could have been the issue. Yes, what? What's she saying yes to?
I don't know.
It was supposed to be an auto turner. That would be the first thing that I would look at.
Make sure that it was turning on.
Did
you open any of them up? Well, when you candled them...
Did you see anything? Any baby chicks? Did any of them form? If you didn't have any of them form, then you probably had a very low fertility rate, and they possibly weren't fertile. If you had some of them form and stuff like that, that thing may not have been turning correctly. Sometimes that just happens.
Yeah, sometimes that's a thing.
That's what, if you candled them and you had some form, but they just didn't make it all the way, or that, that looked like they formed a little bit and then stopped, and you might have had some form all the way to the end. Some were forming but didn't hatch. I would check your turner. Make sure that it's turning. And how I would do that is I would take like a plastic egg or something in there, set it in there, and then every hour go and check it and see if it's moved a little bit.
I'd mark it with a marker so that you know, like you can actually use that as a point of reference.
Yeah.
And then that way you can kind of look at it to see.
And then you got to make sure that your humidity was at 75%, and then your temperature.
I don't know. It's been too long. I don't even remember. I'd have to look it all up again.
101, 102. Correct me if I'm wrong, somebody. But
maybe Sam's in there.
The humidity is the huge debacle with that. If you've got like the in your incubator, if you have the like thermometer and it tells you the temperature and the humidity, that thing may be off, and that could have caused the issues. One of the things that I like to have in our incubators, I have the one, and then I have another one. It said humidity to be 45 and temp 99.9. I was always running my humidity high like that. I want to say it was 75%. It's been so long since we've hatched out eggs. I could be completely wrong. But the humidity was definitely supposed to be higher than 45. I'm pretty confident in that one. Back me up, Windswept. Where was the humidity supposed to be? When you're looking it up right now? Yeah.
50 to 55% humidity. Yeah. Set the temperature to 100.5.
100.5. Yeah.
It says most people shoot for
the humidity. I'm thinking of the higher the humidity in the last days.
It says it's supposed to be 40 to 50 for the first 18, and then you raise it 65 to 75 the last 3 days. Yeah. In general, slightly lower humidity is better than too high. Yeah, I mean, even Backyard Chicken says 50 to 55, so it may be that it was not humid enough. Yeah.
Yeah.
It said humidity was to be 45 and temp 99. Yeah, I think both of them were too low. I think your temperature's a little low, not by much, but a little. And the humidity was low.
I think the humidity was the issue.
More of it, yeah.
Yeah. So
that would be my...
I would get my humidity up. I would pay attention to the automatic egg turner. Get that temp about 105, 101, 105, and then try it again.
100.5, not 105. But yes.
Okay. Well, guys, thanks for coming and hanging out with us. I guess it must have skipped and like started all over or something. Because look at the live timer now.
I see that.
I hope it didn't divide it into 2 different lives.
I hope not.
Me too. Well, guys, thanks for coming and hanging out with us. So, from Robin and I, we wanted to remind you to plant smiles,
grow giggles,
and harvest the love, baby. Yeah. Be kind to one another. God bless, and we will see you guys next time.
Good night, y'all.
Good night. Attention, people still left in the chat. This is the FBI, and we wanted to let you know that we've been watching the Big Bear Homestead, and they are beyond